guys, and today I'm making quite a serious video. Tourette syndrome isn't a joke, because really it's not. And I can see it's portrayed in the media as funny when it's really not funny at all. The tics, the vocal tics, can be quite funny, and some of the motor tics can be quite funny too, I guess. But in all seriousness, the condition itself isn't funny at all. 1. In the media, it is represented as the swearing disease, and people joke about it, comedians joke about it, there's memes online about it, and it's pushing the stigma that people with Tourette syndrome swear, and most of us don't, because I do. I have coprolalia. It affects 10% of people with Tourette's. It's quite rare, and I don't understand why it is always in the media when that's not Tourette's. That's not what Tourette's is. Tourette's is a serious condition. It's not just swearing, and swearing is a serious symptom. I'm not saying it's not, but that's not exactly just what Tourette's is. Also, there's a lot of hate against people with Tourette syndrome. Obviously, there's hate against other people as well, not just Tourette's, obviously, but I'm focusing on Tourette's here. With Tourette's, people online have commented on my YouTube channel, and I can see other YouTubers' channels when they have Tourette's as well, but they say I'm faking it. I'm not faking it one bit. I never have, I never will, I'm not, basically. I've never faked it, never will, but I don't see why people would say this, because they have no idea what people with Tourette's go through. They go through people saying really rude things to them in public. I've had an incident where I was just in a shop and my tics were really severe. I was swearing and yelling stuff about like Hitler and stuff and just saying really inappropriate things, and basically this man like came up to me and shouted, "Do you realise how stupid you're making yourself look?" And I was just like, yes, I do realise I have Tourette's. And he was just like, "I know you can help it." And I'm just like, he doesn't know what I've been through. I've been through a lot, and everyone with Tourette syndrome has been through a lot. For me personally, I couldn't dress myself between the ages of 9 and 12. My parents dressed me because I was so severely disabled with my Tourette's that I physically couldn't dress myself. I found it difficult to brush my teeth, so my parents brushed my teeth for me because I couldn't pick up the toothbrush and actually brush my teeth. I can now, obviously, because I'm on medication, but I didn't used to be able to. I used to have panic attacks all the time and anxiety because of my Tourette's. It's this kind of comorbid / symptom sort of thing of Tourette's, and that's not fun. And the fact that my tics, I had a tic where I would bend down and touch the floor with my hands. It's not funny because I couldn't walk properly and I would keep falling over, and people would laugh at me for that, and it wasn't funny. I had lots of tics. I had a very complex tic that I would clap, I would scratch my arms until they bled. It was literally bleeding arms, and it was horrible. And then tap my thigh and then clap again. I used to do that all the time. It was constant. And what people don't realise about Tourette's is there's a premonitory urge before a tic, which means there's a sensation, and the sensation can make you feel physically sick because it's so uncomfortable. That's just me. It can make me feel physically sick. I don't know for other people. But it's really horrible because mine was so bad at that time that I physically felt sick from the urge to tic all the time. And also when I injured myself, like I was involuntarily doing this and like scratching down my arm, it eventually bled and it was horrible. I also had another tic where I would literally, I don't want to do it because it really hurts, but I would like, I'll do it lightly but not actually do it. I would kind of lean to the side and click my rib and keep doing that. And I would tense my stomach at the same time, and it would kind of clip my rib, and it really hurt. Yeah, it wasn't very nice, and I actually bruised like the tissue on my ribs, which really hurt. Luckily that's gone now, and because it's the summer holidays, my tics are very mild, which is great. When I go back to school, they might be a bit more severe, but I don't know that for a fact, obviously, because you can't really tell. But from experience, I know that when I'm at school, my tics get a lot more severe, but they might not. I don't know. I have no idea. But yes, another thing that Tourette's, it's not funny because people get discriminated against. and bullied. So in the news recently, there was a 7-year-old who got kicked out of a play area for swearing, and it's not their fault because they have Tourette's. And that's discrimination. They should be sued. That's my opinion. You might have a different opinion. And I can see people arguing, well, the other kids shouldn't be hearing him swearing. And I say, well, why can't the parents just teach their kids about disabilities? Because Tourette syndrome is a disability. And, you know, if that kid had cerebral palsy, or, for example, autism, they wouldn't have been allowed to be kicked out because it would be discrimination. And why isn't it for Tourette's? It is discrimination, but people don't see it as that. Whereas if it was like a physical disability, they would say that was wrong, that's definitely wrong. Whereas people are now saying, well, I'm just like, no, it's wrong. Tourette syndrome should be treated like any other disability. There's also this time I was in a shop and I had a jazz hands tic. And this man decided to go around the shop doing this. It was very annoying. And like, knowing me, and just me, I just politely smiled and was like, looked away and like really awkward. But then my dad literally screamed at him and told him off. I'm proud of him, because he shouldn't be doing that. Because if he was mocking someone with a limp or something, he wouldn't be allowed to do that. And he was basically doing that to me, and it was wrong. It was really wrong. And I don't see why people don't see Tourette syndrome as a disability as much as cerebral palsy or autism or anything like that, because it is so much of a disability, for me anyway. Some people might not want to call themselves disabled, and that's obviously fine. But for me, I know I'm not disabled really anymore. I'm very capable of doing everything now. It's just a discrimination. But it used to be I couldn't do anything, basically. I couldn't do anything. But now I'm better a bit. So I also used to get bullied a lot, and people with Tourette syndrome get bullied all the time. I went to the park, I got my phone smashed, I got hit in the face, and it was horrible. Because I have Tourette's. And kids would tell me, stop making that noise, it's annoying. And I would say, I can't. And it was just really annoying. It was like horrible. But I got through that, and I got through lots of people blaming me for doing things that I didn't actually do. But that's why Tourette's isn't funny. And there's also a lack of understanding in medical professionals as well. I go to CAMS, and CAMS are great because they prescribe me medication, and my medication obviously calms my tics a lot, and I can do things now and I can live a near normal life. The problem with CAMS is they don't diagnose Tourette's. Well, they might in other places, but where I live they don't diagnose Tourette's, apparently it's what they said. So I'm actually not diagnosed at the minute. I have a suspected diagnosis. I've had the suspected diagnosis for 6 years. So my parents are trying to get me referred to a neurologist as soon as possible, like within the next few months, so that I can get a diagnosis of Tourette's so I can get the right support. Because my Tourette's has always been quite bad. It's not at the minute, but I do have episodes of coprolalia, like in my video Tourette's in Public. I have episodes of that, and I get lots of stares, and I've got like loads and loads of dirty looks, and sometimes I even get horrified looks. Like I was in a shop, Sainsbury's, and I was just making a noise like this. I was just doing that. And then this man literally looked at me like, I was just like, and I just did the same face back at him. And it was, yeah. He walked off, obviously, because, yeah, he seen what he was doing, because I looked at him exactly how he was looking at me. But I don't understand why Tourette's isn't treated like any other disability. And I don't see why Tourette's is hardly ever diagnosed. It's probably because I'm seeing the wrong professional of it, honestly, but I need a diagnosis, and it's very hard to get a diagnosis, so yeah. Another thing is that Tourette's comes with comorbid conditions such as OCD, ADHD and all that, and obviously that's not funny because it can be very difficult to live with, and it can sometimes be more disturbing than the actual tics. So that's not great. All in all, Tourette's isn't funny. And another thing I saw in the news is a 12-year-old boy who went to a school and he got fixed term isolation for yelling something inappropriate. And I don't understand why the teachers punished him for that, because he can't control what comes out of his mouth because he has a neurological disability. So I would say that school is really stupid, and that boy should sue the school immediately and move schools, because no school should treat a disabled student like that. It's exactly the same as punishing a deaf student because they're not listening. Exactly the same thing. And I don't see why people don't see that, because that's what it is. Tourette syndrome is a disability. It's involuntary. Nobody with Tourette's is like faking it. Nobody with Tourette's is like not valid. Everyone with Tourette's is valid, because Tourette syndrome is different for everyone with Tourette's, and it's a serious disability, and people don't understand that, but it is. It should be treated like every other disability. So yeah. Also, I have some good news, and the good news is my dad signed me up to a weekend residential Tourette's thing in Scotland, and I'm really looking forward to going, and it's going to be great. I was the first person on the list to go there. I was the first person to like sign up, and I'm too eager, it's great. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I want to meet other people with the condition and see how I relate to them and make friends with them and like talk with them and see how they deal with the condition. Because mine's obviously quite mild at the minute, but it isn't always, and it hasn't always been, obviously. It used to be very severe, and I want to talk to them, see if our experiences are anything alike, and I just want to make some friends and see how that goes. And on a side note, any comments that are hate comments will be deleted. Anything saying I'm faking it, it's for attention, or anything like that, I'll just delete it, because I don't have time for people like that in my life. They're just ignorant people, and you can't argue with stupidity, so I don't argue with it anymore. So, bye!